Thank you for coming today. How many of you have seen us do a trends presentation in the past? Okay, so for those of you who don't, you're ready to drink from the fire hydrant, I hope. We have a lot of new material today. As usual, I've probably got more material than we could possibly get through in 2 hours. So I'm definitely going to talk about houses. I'm going to talk a little bit about foreclosures. Does anybody want to talk a little bit about the rental market and investing at all? Okay, so let's cover some time on that then as well. Good. All right, well, I'm going to jump into this. I guess as background, the objective that I have for this is when a client asks you, how is the market, and is now a good time to buy, is now the right time to sell, I want to be able to give you the tools and the information to be able to give them a really comprehensive sort of an answer. So did everybody get one of these little handouts? No. All right, I'm going to pass these around. This doesn't have all the slides on it, it's like 5 or 6. Who else needs them? Raise your hand. That's it? Okay. Oh, I'm good. It has just a couple of the slides in it, along with the speaker notes that go with those slides. Since I usually do a slightly different version of this presentation every time, I never know exactly what I'm going to present. But these are just some fun ones to get started. So let's get started with the bad news first. This is the average price of a house in Denver Metro by month over the last 3.5 years. Between 05 and 06, the average price was up about 2%. Between 06 and 07, it was off about 3%. If you look at just the first 9 months, so far this year we're off about 11%. Sounds like it's a train wreck. Is it actually? Let's take a quick look. For grins, we took a look at the first 5 months of 07 versus the first 5 months of 08 and looked at how price changed by city. And I wasn't too surprised to see that some did better than others. Golden was up 12, Lone Tree was up 11, Wheat Ridge was up 6, all made sense. Some of the less affluent areas that have a lot of foreclosures, I wasn't surprised to see a big downfall. North Glen off 12, Commerce City off 12, Aurora off 11, Brighton off 11. What shocked me though was Castle Rock was off 16%. I don't know if anybody else was as surprised as I was to see that, as I think Castle Rock is a relatively affluent area. And when I saw that, I wanted to figure out why it was. And even if you don't work with Castle Rock, I want to spend a minute talking about it because I think Castle Rock's story does a lot to illustrate what's going on in the overall market. When you look at middle-class houses, 1,800 to 2,400 square feet, sales volume increased about 2% from 07 to 08. You look at little nicer houses, 2,400 square feet to 3,000 square feet, those houses, their volume was up 26%. Does that sound like a down market to you? Sounds fine. The houses that were 4,000 square feet and up, their volume was off 73%. So the analogy I like to use, and I think this is a great way to explain it to your clients, is imagine that you own a car dealership and you sell Chevys and you sell Cadillacs. And 1 month you sell 50 of each, and then the next month, you don't change the price of your Chevy, you don't change the price of your Cadillac, but instead of selling 50-50, you sell 90 Chevys and 10 Cadillacs. What happens to your average sales price that month? It drops dramatically. So the mix of what we sell has a very big impact on what the average price in the market is. And that's really what gets reported in the headlines. Does that make a lot of sense? Why do you guys think the 4,000 square foot houses aren't selling? Give me a couple reasons why. Jumbo loans, one really good reason. What else? I've already seen all these slides, so you guys are going to talk a little bit too. Yes, sir.
You got to at least make probably about $100,000 a year, about 12%.
So you're saying only about 12% of people in Denver make $100,000 a year, which is probably what you need to be able to buy a house that big. Another good reason. Any other reasons? I think the jumbo loans are far and away the best. The jumbo loan rates are relatively high right now, and I think a lot of no one needs a 4,000 square foot house, but it's nice to have. So I think a lot of these people are waiting. So here's the second thing as a takeaway, maybe to share with your clients. Last time I checked, people are still graduating from college and they're sick of living in an apartment. People are still getting married. People who just got married and had their first kid are cramped and they don't have enough space. People are getting divorced. People who are having their last kid go away to college suddenly find themselves in a house twice as big as what they need. All the things in life that drive the demand for our business have continued on without any break, despite all the headlines that we're seeing. So when I see that demand for 4,000 square foot houses is off 70%, is it gone forever, or is it just sitting on the fence and waiting for the right time? If we can hold on for another year, I think maybe 2009, but more likely 2010 is going to be a phenomenal year. But don't exit the business just yet. Questions on this slide, because I think it really holds a lot for unlocking what's happening in our market and why. Yes, sir.
Could you read those percentages in the middle of that graph, please?
Littleton off 4, Highlands Ranch off 4, Lakewood off 4, Westminster off 3, Centennial off 2, Broomfield off 2. Any other questions on this one? Definitely ask questions as we go. It makes it a lot more fun. Okay. Long-term slide. Actually, it's not really changed at all since last time I talked to you guys. 1971, average home price in Metro Denver was $27,000. 2007, the average price was about $270, so it went up tenfold over the course of 37 years. So I'll give you the same joke I gave last time. I wish I would have bought more in 1971. So this red line is the full year average. As you guys all know, we're a lot busier in the summer months than we are in the winter months because families tend to move during the warm months of the year when their kids are out of school. So home prices are higher in the summer because we're selling bigger family-oriented sort of houses, right? So it's not really fair to compare our first the first 9 months of this year to all of last year, right? Because we wouldn't have that fourth quarter dragging numbers down. What this green line is, and I think this is in your handouts, right? Mm-hmm. Or a gray line, I guess is the case may be, is just the first 9 months of those different years, and we're off about 12% so far. So one of the messages that you might take as a third takeaway to your clients is that we actually have been through a foreclosure recession before. The last time that happened was 87 and 88 when the average price dropped about 7% on average across the metro, and it took about 3 years for prices to pop back. This time we're off 12%. I think we'll end up, you can have one of these if you want. Does anybody else need one of these?
Take a small one.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm going to hand this to you, just pass it around. Yeah, they're going to pass them around. We're probably going to fall this year. I don't think it's going to be a whole lot different. 12 is probably about it. Next year we might drop a little bit, but it won't be more than a couple points is my guess. And then I bet we'll be back off to the races again. Questions on that? Okay.